Over the last 5 years, a lot more people have been looking into gardening, into homesteading, and into self-sufficiency and being able to look after their own family. But what a lot of people are running into is the fact that they don't have any land or they don't have any space. And so they think that that's a hindrance and that has to stop them in their gardening and homesteading journey. But having no land does not need to stop you, because gardening and self-sufficiency and doing what you can with what you have can happen in very small spaces. So today I'm going to show you how you can grow tons of food without owning any land. Welcome back, and for everybody new here, welcome. My name is Amanda, and on this channel I focus on frugal living, budget homemaking, and urban homesteading. If any of that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow along. I live on a suburban lot, and I am lucky to have a big backyard to be able to garden as much as possible. I do have 3 very mature trees on my yard, which shade out half of my yard though. So I try to take advantage of all the space with sunlight that I have. My goal is to grow as much food on whatever space that I have, which means that I'm also taking advantage of my big patio, which has a good amount of sunlight and heat. You can see here that I have filled my patio up with as much containers as I possibly can, even doing a full planter made out of repurposed brick. I am trying to grow as much food as possible, and I'm going to tell you how you can too. If you have any space at all to be able to put some containers, you can grow food. Whether this is a balcony or even some containers by a window, you can absolutely plant some food. This year, I am utilizing even my flower boxes that were made out of repurposed wood that we had, and I am planting some squash in here. So I am starting off amending my soil with some manure. Because I do not get rid of my soil every year, I find that wasteful. I make sure that I have to put in some extra nutrients every spring to make sure that my food grows well. And with any container gardening, this is the truth. As when you are watering your soil, the water will go out the bottom and bring some of those nutrients with it. So adding things like manure or compost or worm castings is a wonderful idea. When we are growing with limited space, we really have to focus on getting creative and growing things where we can and growing what works best for us. I know on a lot of the gardening channels, a lot of people have the vertical planters, and those are amazing and they look wonderful, but they're not necessary if you don't have the money to put down on those right now. You can utilize anything. These are bricks that we had bought used to build up behind our fireplace, and we had a lot left over, so I've been building planter boxes on my patio with them. It's a free resource. All I have to do is buy the soil that goes inside of them. I have also used drawers from dressers as planters before, and I also have my old hope chest that's made with cedar, and I've brought that out and I use it as a planter box. I also have this big green bucket that somebody had given to us at an engagement party when we were getting married, and I really had no idea what else to use it for, so I just drilled some holes in the bottom and I used that as a planter. Because you are container gardening, you don't have to go out and buy a ton of containers. You can utilize free or repurposed things to plant your plants in. With that being said, you will have to be mindful about the things you use to make sure that they don't have chemicals in them. I know there's big barrels that some people use as rain barrels, and as much as I am absolutely for that, some of them have had pesticides in them, so you need to be mindful of what were in these things before you plant in them. Planting in tires is also not a very good idea because the chemicals from the tires can leach into the soil that you're growing your food. So as much as I am absolutely all for repurposing as much as possible, making it free or cheap, just be aware of what you are planting in and what might leach into your soil. So many things do really well in containers, and I have tried pretty much all of them. In this planter here, I am planting cucumbers to grow up the back, peppers in the middle, and then beans in the front. I like to plant multiple different things and make it a polyculture in all of my containers. I am doing a very similar combination in this planter box. I am planting cucumbers on the side, peppers in the middle, and beans on the side. Beans are nitrogen fixers, so they fix nitrogen in the soil, which the other plants absolutely love, so they are great combination plants. I find peppers or warm, loving plants do amazing in containers. Peppers like to have warm feet, so they enjoy having their roots warm. They also like to hold hands, so they enjoy being close together. And I find this is a perfect environment for container gardening. They actually do much better in containers for me than they do in the ground. So I never plant my peppers in the ground. They always go in my containers. So if you are looking for an easy container plant to start off with, I highly recommend peppers. That being said, I have yet to find a plant that I cannot grow in a container. They all seem to do fine as long as you're making sure that those containers are watered. Maybe you can put in a drip system, or maybe you're just able to take the time to make sure that they've got good moisture every day. Some of the plants that I have grown in containers over the years have been tomatoes, beans, cucumbers, squash, beets, carrots, onions. And this year, I am trying corn for the first time as well. Having containers can also be incredibly beneficial because you can move them to the environment that the plant likes. If you have full sun, you can move that container to full sun. If the plant enjoys more of a shady environment, you can move it to a shadier environment. It can be a lot more flexible than dealing with whatever land that you have. In this container, I've decided to grow one tomato as well as surrounding it with my parsley plants. So herbs, again, are another one that are great starter plants for putting in containers. They do really well there and you can manage them well, and it's actually nice to have a container of herbs right near your door so you're able to go out and pick from them easily instead of having to traipse into a garden. So as I mentioned earlier, this year I am taking my pots that I normally do flowers in, and I am also putting in food products. So normally I would fill these containers filled with cosmos and zinnias. This year I'm doing the same, however, I'm cutting back on the amount of plants I'm adding here, and then I'm putting in certain plants around the side. So I've got cosmos here and I'm just putting them right in the center of this pot. And then on the sides, I am adding some ground cherries that I'm hoping will come up and kind of vine down the side. and that will be fun for the kids to come out and grab those ground cherries and munch on them. They're quite sweet. They're in the tomato family, so they like a warm environment, of which this patio gets nice and warm in the summer. So I'm hoping that they will do well here. And having the flowers on the patio will also help to bring in the pollinators. I know for some, you're not going to have a patio, that your situation might be a little bit different, and you might just have a balcony. I watched a video the other day of a woman who was gardening on her balcony, and she had it full of food plants. So I think there was a space for her to step out and water, but other than that, it was absolutely loaded down, and she had these pots kind of taped up to her balcony, so it was vertical gardening for her. And then she had trellises that went up and over the roof of her balcony, and she was able to grow watermelon and had it trellised up there, and it was absolutely fascinating. If I can find the link to this video, I will make sure that I pop it into the description box so you guys can see how creative she was with the space that she had and how she was able to grow a lot of food with such little space allotted to her. And that's just what we have to do sometimes, is get really creative with the space that we have to make sure we can do the most with the space that we have. Now, if you have a balcony that is just in the shade, then you can focus on some shade-loving plants like lettuce and kale, and some of the cold hardy plants. Even peas would probably do fine in the shade. But there's certain plants that you can really focus on that will do well in that climate or in that area that you are. If you're really wanting to focus on sun-loving plants, if you're able to hook up some solar lights, that would help your situation as well. Now, some people may not even have a balcony. Now, this is where you've got to get very creative and figuring out how you can grow food inside in pots. Many people are able to grow microgreens and lettuce and kale, things that don't need pollinators. But even if you do need pollinators, you can also do hand pollination with paintbrushes. So you can grow things inside, pollinate them. You can use watering systems and solar lights to help you grow. It is possible to grow without land, absolutely. We just have to be thinking outside the box. I think we have just been told so many rules and so many limitations when it comes to growing food that we feel intimidated by it, that we feel that our situation keeps us from growing the food that we would like to grow. But when we look outside the box, when we look beyond the rules that have been given to us, we are able to see how we can make this work for us, how we can use the situation we have and deal with that and grow some food. Homesteading is not about the land that you have. It's not about having all the animals or all of the garden space. Homesteading is a spirit. It's about doing what you can with what you have, making what you can with the land that you have or the area that you have. It's trying to be as self-sustaining as possible where you are. And that can be in an urban setting, in a suburban setting, or in a rural area. I know for myself, I wanted to do all the homesteading things. I wanted chickens and ducks and geese. I wanted turkeys and a cow, and I wanted a huge market garden. But that just was not available for me in the space that I have here. and it's not available for me to be able to move to a rural area because rural areas around where we are go for millions and millions of dollars. So it is not a feasible idea for us to be moving out into a rural area just to make that dream come true. So I am going to work with the land that I have. I will grow what I can while I am here. And instead of having all those farm animals, I'm learning how to hunt. So I'm going into public lands and I'm hunting there. And I'm just dealing with the space that I have. And that might be true for you as well, where you're wanting to have that homesteading dream. And instead of having the huge garden, you're able to shop locally, you're able to go to farmers markets, and you can buy in bulk and then can all of those, preserve it for yourself. And that is just a way of being homesteading in the area that you are. I will not be able to grow all the food that my family will eat for a year, but I am able to grow some of it. And the peppers that I grow on this patio will last my family the majority of the year. So while I can't grow all of the food that my family will eat for a year, I can grow some food that will last the majority of the year. And I know that that food has been well looked after. It's been grown in organic soil, it has not been sprayed, and it is as local as it gets. This area here that I am planting in is again another brick planter that I made with these bricks that are for free. And I put it up against the side of my garage. I'm taking up a little bit of the pathway that we have there to grow a little bit of food here. And I've had to play with this area because the soil here gets so hot and dry. So this year I am focusing on heat-loving plants, and I am trying corn for the first time in a container. Our corn on our land does not typically do as well as I would like because of the big mature trees that we have back there, and it doesn't get as much sun as that corn would really like to have. This area here gets full sun and it gets nice and warm, so I think the corn here will really enjoy that. If you're looking for more ideas on urban homesteading, make sure you check out the link I have listed here. I've got lots of ideas for you. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you guys next time.